And we're going to start off this morning by looking at the Sage 200 configuration process within the email settings of the report designer. Okay, so within Sage 200, we access our report designer using the Tools option, and then we run the report designer through that option. This morning's session is going to be based on our invoicing document, but this process is the same for any of the stationery layouts that you have within Sage 200. It's a standard feature, there's no additional charge, it just needs configuring as we're going to go through this morning. So we're going to be looking at our sales invoice, so I'm just going to load that document. Now there's a number of ways that you can get into the configuration setup. Within the report option and the menu at the top, we have email settings. Within the properties box of the document, there's email options, and you can actually select the email options from there. And there's also an icon on the toolbar for email settings. It doesn't matter which route you choose, they all open the same screen. You see we have two tabs here. We have our email settings and we also have email attachments. So you can attach terms and conditions or anything else that you want to send with this document at the same time. So let's have a little look at all the options available to us. First of all, how do we want to split the document when we're sending it out via email? It could be we want to email the entire report out, so maybe it's a trial balance or a profit and loss report, something that we really don't need to split on a document by document basis, so we would select the entire report. If we want to split the document, so in this example our sales invoices, how are we going to tell Sage that we want to break that document down into individual segments? There's all these different group headings that we can select from, and they're set up within the report designer itself. So as you're designing the report, the group headings will build up. And what we're looking at splitting on this instance is the SOP invoice credit ID. So we're saying for each individual invoice, we want to send a unique email out to our customers. Who do we actually want to send the email to? And if we select the To button, we can actually build up a number of email addresses that we want to send it to. You could just type in an email address if it's always going to the same person. So in my example, if it's an entire report, you're just going to send to the FD of the company, you can just type in the email address and then add that email address. However, in our example, what we're actually looking to achieve is to send the email address to our preferred email contact for each of our customers. If we select the Add button against the expression, on the right-hand side here, we have available to us all the fields and all the tables and all the fields within those tables that we could select from. And we're actually looking to select from our customer contacts our email address, our preferred email address. Now what this is going to do is actually going to look at our customer account, and we'll have a look at this in a little more detail in just a moment, and it's going to look at all the contacts that we have set up within that customer account, but it's going to send this particular email to the person that we've designated as the preferred contact to receive our invoices. So that's our SL customer contacts preferred email address. You can build up this expression not only for who you're going to send the email to, but who you're going to copy in and who you're going to blind copy in. So you could send multiple emails for that one invoice through this particular screen. When it comes to who it's going to go from, by default it's going to come from the person that's actually sending the email. Now you can only use this from option if you select the Internet Mail SMTP as the mail provider. If you have MAPI or Microsoft Outlook, this from address is going to be ignored. So this will come from our mail provider option at the bottom of the screen here. We can build up a subject, so when our subject of our email, what do we want it to say in the header of that particular email? And again, by selecting that button, we can build up an expression to make it more personal. So what we have here is a combination of text and a field that's found within the tables in this particular report. So on our email header, it's going to say your invoice number, and it's picking up the field SOP invoice credits document number, which is going to be our invoice number, which is found in this particular table. SOP invoice credits. If I expand that, we have the field there document number. But you could build that up to say just pure text, so invoice from Prosys Computing, or your invoice, or you could have a number of fields that build up that particular subject line. The next prompt we're asked for is how should the report be sent? It could be sent as plain text, and what that means is that when we send the email, our invoice is going to be incorporated in the body of that email. So when they open the email, they will see just the invoice in its entirety as the text within the email. However, we're choosing to send the report as an attachment, and we can type in any text that we want as the message within that email. So the email will be sent out to our preferred contact with the subject line that reads your invoice number, followed by their invoice number. There's going to be an attachment, and the body of the text in our example here is going to just read, your report is attached in PDF format. To load the report, you will need free Adobe Acrobat Reader available to download at adobe.com. And the attachment format that we're choosing to send is PDF, but you can select from any of these drop-down options to attach it in any particular format. The file name will be the report description. So in other words, it's going to be sales invoice. You have a number of options here as how you want to process that particular email. So do we want to request a read receipt for this email? And do we want to request a delivery receipt? Again, it's not supported by the MAPI mail provider, so that will depend on what we've selected as our mail provider at the bottom of the screen here. We also have some sending options. Do we want to send the emails immediately, or do we want to save the emails to a mailbox? Now, I've chosen that for demonstration purposes, so we can see the email as it's in our draft box, and from there we can send it once we've approved and we're happy with the email that actually goes out. Finally, depending on who your mail provider is, you select the appropriate provider from the drop-down list on our options here. And that's all there is to actually setting up the email settings within the document within Sage 200. Now, as I say, this is available for all your stationery layouts. It could be your statements, your remittance advices, purchase orders, sales invoices, any document at all, or even group for your reports in their entirety, so any of your trial balance, age debtors, creditors. You just go into the email options and you set those settings appropriately, which are all explained in full on the help screen, on the help document that you've got to download. So let's have a little look at that in action. So I'm going to raise a new sales order. And I'm going to raise this order for our customer called Abbey Retail. Just going to add some items to our sales order. I'm just going to do a text item just for speed. For £1,000. And I'm going to say we're not going to dispatch that at this point in time. Okay, so it's generated order number 5115. Oopsie. Document printing. I don't think we need acknowledgements. That's great. So I can just go straight to print the invoice. And that's the invoice or the order that we just entered today, and I'm going to print that as today's date. Fab. Okay, so that's our invoice, and we're ready to send that out to our customer. So let's select our email option from the top of the screen here. It's telling me that it's successfully output that to email. So I'm going to say OK to that. And because I had that setting that I wanted to save it as a copy first, it's gone to my draft folder. So it's there for me to review prior to it actually being sent out to the customer. Let's just open up that invoice, or that email rather. It's gone to info@abbey-retail.co.uk, which is the email address for our preferred contact for this particular document. We'll have a little look at that now. The subject is as we defined in our email settings, so it's your invoice number 5061. It's been attached as a PDF document, and the text reflects what we put into our email settings in the report designer. I'm just going to open up that PDF file, and that is the document that your customer will receive via our email settings. So that's now ready to be sent. Let's just go back into Sage 200. Okay, I'm just going to close that document and have a little look at Abbey Retail, our customer. And if we have a little look at our contacts, you'll see here that Hayley is our preferred contact to receive that particular document, and her email address is info@Abbey Retail. If I'd chosen that it was going to be Ian that was going to be getting those documents, the email would have been sent to Ian rather than to info@Abbey Retail. So it all works very, very well. The only thing is that if you choose to email your documents using Sage 200 email settings, if there was no email address next to your preferred contact, then what Sage will do is still save it as a draft within your drafts in your emails, but it just won't send that. Okay, it'll be a blank email address, and it'll be there for you to manually type in the email address. This is why I just want to show you what else is available using Spindle and Spindle Professional Tools. Now, Spindle is a third-party add-on, and it's purely for document automation, but it offers a far more sophisticated process than what we've just seen. You can set up any documents within the automation process within Spindle, and here we're looking at sales invoices. So I'm just going to expand our sales invoices and have a little look at what can be set up and what's available to you using Spindle. First of all, within the distribution tab, we have all of these options. You can select a distribution method order. And what this is saying that our priority is to email this document to our customer. If, however, there's no email address or what email is down and it's not possible to send that document by email, then our second preference is to fax that to our customer. Again, if that method is not available to us, then our third option is to print that particular document. So we will automatically know if it's going to send that document via email or if it needs to be printed out and go straight to your printer. You don't have to have that manual intervention and looking at those emails that have not managed to be sent because there's no email address. If all three methods are unavailable, then a warning will appear to tell us that no distribution method has been found. As well as distributing this document to our customers, there are also other options available to us. We could archive these documents to a designated area on our server, and we could also record a copy within our CRM module. And we're going to have a look at all of this in action in just a moment. Within our default forms as well, we can design very sophisticated sort of Word documents that are used as a backdrop to our document. In this example, our sales invoice will be looking at the standard layout that we have within Sage 200, but it'll be placing that on top of this particular layout that we've got designed within Spindle. If we expand the Send to My Clients option, we can set all these different settings for our distribution methods. I just want to show you the email settings because within the message, we can be far more sophisticated about the message that's being displayed within that email and the body of the text. So in our example here, we're going to have a message in the email that says sales invoice number 123 to whatever company we're sending it to. Dear, and it's going to pick up the contact name from Sage 200. It's going to pick up invoice number and their customer order number, and it's going to put our user details as a kind regards option at the end of the email. So let's have a little look at Spindle in action. If I go back into Sage, I'm just going to open up my spool file and I'm going to view that document. This is the document that we just printed this morning for our invoice for £1,000. Instead of selecting the email button, which will use the standard email settings that we've just looked at within Sage 200, I'm going to select Print. And when Spindle is installed, you will have 3 additional printers available to you: Spindle Pro Auto, and Spindle Pro Form Creator. The Form Creator is used to design that backdrop that I explained earlier on, so the boxes and the colours and the overlay that you want your invoice or your documents to use. Spindle Pro Auto will automate the process that I'm about to show you. Spindle Pro will stop at each stage so I can demonstrate the system to you, but when it's set up and you're comfortable with the Spindle software, you just select Spindle Pro Auto and it will just do all the work in one press of a button. So Spindle Pro, let's see what happens. As soon as I select Spindle Pro, okay, it's asking me which document type configuration I want to use. I'm wanting to look at our sales invoices, and we said within Spindle, the Spindle setup, that I want to try and email this document. If you can't email it, then fax it, and if you can't fax it, then print it. I also said that I wanted to save a document within our archive on the server, and also save a copy within CRM. I'm just going to say OK to that, and now we see Spindle actually distributing the document according to our settings. So it's sending it via email, it's distributing it via archive, and hopefully we're going, there we are, it's now linked it through to CRM as well. So let's close this document and have a little look at all of those processes that have taken place. So first of all, okay, we have another option in our draft folder in our email. Again, going to info at Abbey Retail. The subject just reads invoice number. Attached is our invoice in PDF format, but now we can see that the body of the text looks far more professional. Sales invoice 5061 to Abbey Retail. Dear Hayley, please find out attached our invoice for your reference 111, and it's got then my details as the sender of this particular email. I also said that I wanted to save a copy to archive. Now my archive is placed within my Drive C, and I've got a test archive folder. And in there you'll see we've got a copy of invoice number 5061, that invoice, and that's the layout that the customer is now going to receive. So you can see it's got that much more professional look and feel because it's got a Word document backdrop rather than just the standard report designer layout that you get as standard within Sage 200. Finally, within CRM, if I go to Abbey Retail, if I log in would be helpful. Let's log into the CRM. Well, that's loaded. Oh, there we go. It's loaded. That's great. So if I now go to Abbey Retail in CRM, and I go to my communications, okay, dokie, it's not there. It's not there. It was because I wasn't logged in. But there would be a communication showing that email within CRM as well. So you've got access to that email from within the CRM. So all your salespeople and marketing staff can also have access to that document. Now, I suppose the difference, the overriding difference really between the two is the standard Sage Report Designer comes free of charge with Sage 200, and it's there available to you for you to use to email your documents as of today. There is a cost implication with Spindle, and prices start at £760 for a single user, but the costs reduce if you have more and more users for Spindle, and there's also an annual support charge that needs to be paid. So hopefully that's given you a good overview really of the differences between Sage 200 documents and the Spindle Document Manager. As I say, download those handouts that you've got. It's all very straightforward, so it's a very quick webinar this morning. And if you have any questions, please let me know and I'll answer them as soon as I get back to my desk. So thank you for your time this morning, and I look forward to speaking to you again soon.